Have you ever felt like you've been tested?
Over and over again? Like life keeps throwing the same lessons at you in different disguises? The failed relationship that mirrors the one before it. The career setback that feels hauntingly familiar. The pattern you swore you'd break, yet here you are again. What if I told you that you're seeing this video right now because you've already passed something most people never will? What if everything you've been through, every heartbreak, every failure, every moment you thought would destroy you was actually preparing you for this exact moment? Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, believed the universe has a final test. And if you're watching this, you've already passed it. You see this because you have passed the final test of the universe. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will change how you see your entire life. Your life has been a series of initiations. Let me ask you something personal. Think back to the hardest moment of your life, the one that almost broke you. Maybe it was a betrayal that shattered your trust, a loss that hollowed out your chest, a failure that made you question everything about yourself. Now look at who you are today. You're still here. You're still searching. You're still growing. That alone makes you extraordinary. Carl Jung spent his life studying what he called individuation, the process of becoming your true self. But here's what most people miss. Individuation isn't a journey. It's a series of deaths and rebirths. And the universe has been testing you to see if you're ready for the final transformation. The test isn't what you think. It's not about making more money, finding the perfect partner, or achieving some external success. The final test is much deeper, much more profound. And if you're here watching this, feeling this strange resonance in your chest, you've already passed it. Let me show you how. Section 1. The Dark Night of the Soul, Jung's Personal Crisis. To understand the final test, we need to talk about Jung's own breaking point. In 1913, at the age of 38, Carl Jung, successful psychiatrist, colleague of Freud, respected intellectual, experienced what he called his confrontation with the unconscious. To everyone else, he looked like he was losing his mind. He had visions, terrifying dreams. He heard voices. He saw symbols and archetypes emerging from the depths of his psyche that he couldn't explain. For 6 years, Jung descended into what mystics call the dark night of the soul. He could have medicated himself. He could have suppressed it. He could have pretended everything was fine. But instead, he did something radical. He leaned into it. Jung began recording his visions in what would become the Red Book, a massive, illuminated manuscript that wasn't published until after his death. He engaged with his demons. He dialogued with his shadow. He descended into the underworld of his own psyche and emerged transformed. This wasn't a mental breakdown. This was a spiritual breakthrough. And Jung realized something profound. This crisis wasn't unique to him. It's a universal pattern. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Jung. The dark night of the soul is the universe's way of breaking down your false self, so your true self can emerge. And if you've been through this, if you've faced your own underworld, you've passed the first part of the test. Section 2. The shadow integration, facing what you've hidden. Now we come to the part most people fail. Jung introduced a concept that makes people uncomfortable. The shadow. Your shadow is everything about yourself you've repressed, denied, or hidden away. It's the anger you pretend you don't feel, the jealousy you're ashamed to admit, the desires you've been taught to suppress, the parts of you that don't fit the good person image you've created. Here's the brutal truth. You can't become whole by being good. You become whole by being honest. Think about someone you absolutely can't stand, someone who irritates you to your core. Jung would say that person is showing you your shadow. The traits you hate in them are the traits you've disowned in yourself. The manipulative person? They're showing you where you're manipulative. The narcissist? They're revealing your own hidden grandiosity. The victim. They're mirroring your own refusal to take responsibility. This is where most people fail the test. They spend their whole lives projecting their shadow onto others, blaming, criticizing, playing the victim or the hero. But you? If you're watching this, you've done something different. You've looked at your darkness. You've owned your mistakes. You've stopped pretending to be perfect and started trying to be real. Jung called this shadow integration, the conscious acceptance of everything you are, light and dark. And when you integrate your shadow, something magical happens. You stop being triggered by others. You stop projecting your pain onto the world. You become authentic, grounded, powerful. You access energy you didn't know you had. This is the second part of the test. And if you've done this work, even partially, you're further along than 95% of humanity. Section 3. Synchronicity, the universe responds. Here's where it gets mystical. Jung noticed something strange happening with his patients who were doing the deep work of individuation. They started experiencing what he called synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that seem to defy probability. You think of someone you haven't spoken to in years, and they call you that same day. You have a dream about a specific symbol, and see it everywhere when you wake up. You need an answer to a problem, and a stranger says exactly what you needed to hear. Most people dismiss these as random chance, but Jung saw them as evidence of something profound. When you align with your true self, the universe begins to align with you. Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see. Carl Jung. Think about it. How did you find this video? Did you search for it? Or did it somehow find you? Were you randomly scrolling and something made you click? Did the title speak to something you've been feeling lately? That's not an accident. That's synchronicity. The universe communicates through symbols, through timing, through coincidences that carry meaning. And the more you wake up, the more you'll notice these signs everywhere. But here's the key. Synchronicity doesn't happen to distracted people. It happens to people who are paying attention. It happens to people who have done the inner work, faced their shadow, aligned with their authentic path. If you're experiencing increased synchronicity in your life, if you're noticing patterns and signs that feel meaningful, that's the universe confirming you're on the right path. That's how you know you've passed the test. Section 4. The final test. Surrendering control. So what is the final test? After everything Jung learned, after all his research and personal transformation, he discovered something that contradicts everything modern society teaches us. The final test isn't about becoming stronger. It's about surrendering. Let me explain. We spend the first half of life building our ego, building our identity, building our achievements, building our defenses. We think this is what makes us strong. But Jung discovered that true strength comes from the second half of life, when we start dismantling all of that. The final test is this. Can you let go of control? Can you stop forcing outcomes? Trust the process of your life. Accept that you don't have all the answers. Surrender to something greater than your ego. This is where spirituality and psychology merge. Jung called it dying to the ego. Buddhism calls it ego, death. Christianity calls it dying to self. Different words. Same truth. Think about your biggest struggle right now. Are you trying to control it? Force it? Fix it? What if you surrendered? Not giving up, surrendering. There's a difference. Giving up is defeat. Surrendering is trust. Surrendering means, I'll do my part, but I trust the universe to do its part. I'll show up fully, but I won't attach to outcomes. I'll take action, but I won't let fear drive me. I'll be present to what is, not what I wish it was. This is the final test, and it's paradoxical. You only pass by stopping trying to pass. You only win by stopping trying to win. You only gain control by surrendering control. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Carl Jung. And if you're feeling that deep exhale right now, that sense of relief, that feeling of finally, I can stop fighting, that's the sign you've passed. Section 5. What happens after you pass the transformed life? So what happens after you pass the final test? Does life suddenly become easy? Do all your problems disappear? No. And anyone who tells you that is selling you fantasy. But something does change. Something fundamental. You stop living from life and start living with life. Let me break that down. Before the test, life happens to you. You're reactive, defensive, victimized. You resist change and pain. You try to control everything. You're disconnected from your intuition. You live from fear and scarcity. After the test, life happens with you. You're responsive, open, empowered. You flow with change and learn from pain. You trust the process. You're guided by inner knowing. You live from love and abundance. Practically, this looks like, in relationships, you attract people who match your authenticity, not your mask. You stop seeking completion in others because you're already complete. In career, you stop chasing external validation and start following your calling. Success becomes a byproduct, not the goal. In challenges, problems don't disappear, but you stop seeing them as enemies. They become teachers, opportunities for growth. In daily life, there's a groundedness, a peace. Even in chaos, there's a center that remains calm. Jung called this state individuation, becoming your true self. But here's what's beautiful. It's not a destination. It's a way of being. You don't arrive and stay there forever. You touch it, lose it, find it again. It's a spiral, not a straight line. And the more you practice living from this place, the more natural it becomes. You stop seeking approval. You stop comparing yourself. You stop living in the past or future. You're just here, fully present, fully alive. Fully you. Section 6, the invitation. What to do next. If you've made it this far in the video, I want to honor you. This isn't entertainment. This is medicine. And the fact that you're still here means your soul is hungry for something deeper. So let me give you some practical steps, because wisdom without application is just information. Step 1. Journal your journey. Write down your answer to this question. What tests have I already passed that I haven't acknowledged? Give yourself credit. You've survived 100% of your worst days. That's not luck. That's strength. Step 2. Dialogue with your shadow. Jung used a technique called active imagination. Try this. Close your eyes. Ask your shadow self, what do you need me to know? Then write whatever comes up without judgment. The answers might surprise you. Step 3. Notice synchronicities. Start a synchronicity log. When something meaningful happens, a coincidence, a sign, a feeling, write it down. Over time, you'll see patterns. The universe has been speaking to you all along. Step 4. Practice surrender. Every day, identify one thing you're trying to control. Then consciously release it. Say out loud, I surrender this to the universe. I trust the process. Watch what happens when you stop forcing. Step 5. Create your red book. Jung documented his journey. You can too. Start a journal, sketchbook, or digital document where you record your dreams, your insights, your questions, your transformations. This becomes your sacred text, your roadmap, your proof that you're not the same person you were. These aren't quick fixes. This is lifelong work. But if you commit to this path, if you keep showing up for your own evolution, you'll look back in a year and barely recognize who you were. That's the gift of passing the test. Carl Jung believed that every human life is a myth being written in real time. You are the hero of your own story, and every hero's journey follows the same pattern. The call, something disrupts your ordinary world. The descent, you face your demons in the underworld. The transformation, you die to who you were. The return, you bring wisdom back to the world. You've been called. You've descended. You've transformed. Now comes the return. Now you take everything you've learned and you live it. Not perfectly, not without struggle, but authentically. You're watching this video because your soul knew you needed this message. The universe has been preparing you, testing you, forging you in the fire of experience, and you've passed. Not because you're perfect, but because you're willing. Willing to look at your darkness, willing to question your beliefs, willing to grow even when it hurts. Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. Carl Jung. So wake up, fully, completely. The life you've been searching for isn't out there. It's not in the next achievement, the next relationship, the next breakthrough. It's here. It's now. It's in the sacred present moment where you finally accept yourself completely. You see this video because you've passed the final test. Now go live like it,